Hey guys, we're taking a break from draft because I got a bye, so just to remind you, this is Morgan from TheMeadery.org. I am going to be playing in a Pauper Monoblack Control 2-man. And we're going to keep this hand. This is a fairly good hand. The big question here is to whether or not to cycle Baronmore, and I think the answer is no, because we want to get this Kumbaji Witches out on turn 2 and have a play on turn 3 as well. So we're just going to play it. So yeah, can't wait to get started. Alternatively, we could hold up Disfigure as well. Yeah, why don't we do that? We're going to play Swamp, hold up Disfigure, and if they don't have a Disfigure target, we're going to cycle Baronmore. Alright, so we're going to get started, put a Swamp into play, pass the turn. We're going to remember to cycle Baronmore. Absolutely. I don't know what this guy is doing. I really hope he isn't double queuing because no, it's really dumb to double queue a 2-man. I think. Alright, so if he drops a Delver here, then we will be rewarded for holding up Disfigure. Phantasmal Bear, that's a Delver, pretty much. And Phantasmal Bear dies no matter what, because when it becomes the target of a spell or ability, it is sacrificed. Alright, so we got another land, which is nice, although we won't get an opportunity to cycle Baronmore for a while. So we might end up just playing it anyway. And Kumbaji Witches is pretty good against the mono blue Delver of Secrets Phantasmal Bear decks because of its ability to ping creatures for value. So we're going to just play a Chittering Rats here. We got a second Baronmore. Chittering Rats is going to be counterspelled, which is fine. We're going to hold up Kumbaji Witches. Kumbaj Witches. Because if he plays Delver, we want to be able to kill it right away. And alright, so we're going to duress him, see what's going on. And this is our chance to cycle Baronmore. Alright, so he's brainstorming. He's putting cards from his hand on top of his library in order to hide them from duress, which is a perfectly reasonable play. So we'll probably see a handful of creatures. And we're going to cycle at least one Baronmore on our turn, because so we're hitting Spellstutter Sprites and Delver of Secrets, both of which are very effective. With Kumbaji Witches are very effective against. We're going to cycle this Baronmore, and we did hit a Swamp, so we're going to play it. And that's the reason you cycle on your main phase, is in order to hit your land drop. And we're going to cycle another one. Alright, Sign in Blood. Sign in Blood's pretty good. So we're going to Sign in Blood ourselves, looking for more swamps, because we just hit Corrupt, which is one of the win conditions of this deck. Alright, so he counterspells it. So we're not going to hit a swamp. So he still has 2 Spellstutter Sprites and a Delver of Secrets and 1 Unknown in his hand. And for some reason I can't activate my Kumbaji Witches. Which is awkward and embarrassing for all parties involved. Alright, Spire Golem is one of the things that cannot be killed by Kumbaji Witches. It can, however, be killed by Oubliette. Which is nice because one of the big things about Oubliette is that it adds devotion for Grey Merchant of Asphodel. Alright, so we're gonna take the Spider Golem. And one thing that can happen if we play Oubliette when they only have one creature is they can snap their own creature and force us to exile our own witches. Alright, so here we're going to attack for the sole reason that Akiba Gang Shinobi happens to be really very good against the counterspell decks. Akiba Gang Shinobi has ninjutsu of 4, and when it deals combat damage to an opponent, that opponent discards 2 cards. This is kind of risky, given that he does have the Delver of Secrets and the 2 spell stutter sprites in hand, but we're not as worried about that because we do have the second Oubliette. And he's going to discard 2 of them anyway. This guy has a really pimp deck too, oh my goodness. Alright, so he's playing Piracy Charm, targeting us, and we are going to discard Corrupt because we can win without corrupting him. And in fact, it's kind of, well, he's gonna only discard the Delver of Secrets. That's a pretty spell starter sprite too, goodness. And we're gonna play the odds that he hasn't drawn another spell stutter sprite. And Oubliette one of the spell stutter sprites. And if he has, we resolve Combage Witches. And we do this so that counterspell, you got it. And we're not going to bother attacking with Akiba Gang Shinobi. It's worth more than a pair of spell stutter sprites. And next turn we can play. No, he just conceded. Okay. Alright, so this version has spell stutter sprites which make Deadweight less good than Victim of the Night and Disfigure. And the rest of this is pretty decent already. We could Wrench Mine, but it's a little bit iffy. Shoot. Actually, we're going to put an Oubliette in instead of Victim of the Night. The reason is because spell stutter sprites, it's really hard for him to have 3. And so it's harder for him to counter Oubliette than it is to counter Disfigure. Alright, we'll be back, I guess. Alright. We're back. We have a turn 2 Combage Witches, so we're not going to mulligan. We also have Disfigure, Sign of Blood, the normal stuff. Alright, so Phyrexian Rager is one of the card advantage engines in this deck. Alright, he's brainstorming. I don't see why Brainstorm is as good. Cloud of Fairies. Alright, so I'm going to disfigure the Cloud of Fairies with its trigger on the stack so that he can't snap his Cloud of Fairies. And Cloud of Fairies would be super effective at countering Combage Witches because the spell stutter sprite says that it yeah, see, spell starter sprite. Says that it would counterspell with converted mana cost X or less, so if the Cloud Fairies had been allowed to live, or he had been allowed to untap, he could have countered either my Disfigure or my Kumbaj Witches. Alright, so he's ninjutsuing in Ninja of the Deep Hours, which is pretty good for him because he gets to draw a card. And he's just tapping out all over the place. Land. Yeah, called it. Phyrexian Rager is pretty good here because it trades with Ninja of the Deep Hours. I don't have to worry about blocking with Kumbaj Witches. I will definitely trade here. I've already gotten my use out of Phyrexian Rager. Alright, Spire Golem dies to Victim of the Night. And he's gushing here, so he wants to get some mana. Let's see. Alright, so here we are going to sign and blood ourselves. Actually, yeah, we're going to sign and blood ourselves. And then we can hold up. And then we're just going to Victim of the Night the Spire Golem because we did draw another swamp. So it doesn't really matter. And he could dispel it. Or he's just going to brainstorm. Okay. He could daze it if he finds one with brainstorm. Alright, so it looks like Victim of the Night's going to resolve. Alright, another Spire Golem. You got it. Another Akiba Gang Shinobi. So I think we can just Tendrils here. And gain 5 life. Otherwise we can Sign in Blood and hope to draw a 3-drop. But I think we Tendrils now while he's tapped out. The reason being because Tendrils is most effective when it resolves. And if it doesn't resolve, then we don't get any of the benefits from it after having spent 4 mana. We know he has Spell Stutter Sprite in hand still. And he's not playing it. Alright, so we got a second Kumbaj Witches, which means that I'm going to first Sign in Blood myself, and he can counter that if he wants. He didn't. And then I'm going to play Chittering Rats. Chittering Rats isn't great against the preordained decks, especially if they have a Delver out, because they can just put an instant or sorcery on top of their library. However, at this point, I'd really like something other than Kumbaj Witches to Ninjutsu Okiba Gang Shinobi in with. So that's the reasoning behind that. And he flashes in Spell Stutter Sprite here, which resolves. I think I just kill it though. Oh, no, just kidding. Alright, I have to kill it now, because if I let him go to declare blockers, then he can ninjutsu in Ninja of the Deep Hours. which is I think what he's trying to do. Or not. Is he just going to do something to Chittering Rats? Oh, he's gonna Piracy Charm Chittering Rats. Okay, you got it. What a champion. Alright, we could cast Twisted Abomination, which I think would be really fun. I think we're going to hardcast Okiba Gang Shinobi though. The reason for this is it gives him some warning, but we still want to keep up Kumbadra Witches. It's just way too important. Alright, so we can attack with Okiba Gang Shinobi and then disfigure the Spire Golem. If he blocks with it, which he does. I don't think he can afford to lose the cards in his hand. And so we eat this Fire Golem. And then I think we are just going to play another pair of Kumbadra Witches. It just kind of goes to show how important Okiba Gang Shinobi is in this in this matchup. Alright, so he's hardcasting Ninja of the Deep Hours so that he can block Okiba Gang Shinobi. Little does he know we have another one waiting for him. And we can't just ping it with Kumbadra Witches. We are going to attack with Kumbadra Witches though. And then we can actually just recast Kumbadra Witches, which is ideal. And he discards 2. Spell Starter Sprite and a Delver of Secrets, which are essentially dead against Kumbadra Witches. Alright, now he's just trying to stay alive, which is entertaining. We can Swamp Cycle, Twisted Abomination, or we could cast Chittering Rats, or we could just cast it, which I think would be funny. I think we cast Chittering Rats here and make it harder for him to draw out of this. And he can't attack with Ninja of the Deep Hours, because if he does, I can just block it very easily. Oh. And we're not going to do anything else. We're not going to attack with Okiba Gang Shinobi. Alright, and our other match started, which is awkward. Alright, our opponent just conceded to Okiba Gang Shinobi, which means that we can move on to our match of the draft.